Feidian, Heathrow Airport, first-class boarding gate. The energy is lively yet controlled, passengers checking in, attendants directing people. The camera focuses on a man, Big Shaq, dressed in casual streetwear, hoodie up, carrying a simple duffel bag. Flight attendant, Olivia Carter, forced polite smile. Sir, first-class boarding is for premium passengers only. Economy is boarding shortly through the other gate. Big Shaq, lifting an eyebrow calm. This is my gate. He hands over his ticket. Olivia barely glances at it before shaking her head. Olivia stern. There must be a mistake. This isn't an economy ticket. You need to step aside. Other passengers begin glancing over. Some curious, others whispering. A businessman adjusts his watch, pretending not to watch. A woman in pearls gives a knowing smirk. Big Shaq exhales, patient. I know exactly what ticket I got. He taps the boarding pass. Olivia doesn't budge. Her eyes flick toward security. Olivia, tight smile. One moment. She gestures discreetly. A security officer approaches, posture rigid. Security officer. Sir, I'll need to see your boarding pass. Shaq hands it over. The officer scans it, then frowns. Olivia, still confident, leans in to see the screen. A flicker of confusion crosses her face. Then dread. Security officer, lowering voice. Miss Carter, this is a first-class ticket. A VIP one. A beat. Olivia's composure falters, but she quickly recovers, trying to mask her mistake. Olivia, strained laugh. Oh. Well, you should have said something earlier. Big Shaq smirks, voice smooth. I did. Silence. The tension is thick. Passengers shift uncomfortably. Olivia clears her throat, forcing professionalism. Olivia, handing back the ticket, still trying to save face. Right this way, sir. Shaq doesn't move immediately. He studies her. The power shift is evident now. Olivia knows she messed up. The surrounding passengers know it too. A moment passes before Shaq finally steps forward. He takes his time, letting the weight of the moment settle before walking past. Cut to first-class cabin. Shaq settles into his luxurious seat. He leans back, deep in thought, as flight attendants move around, pretending nothing happened. The plane door closes. The flight is ready for takeoff. But Olivia? She just stepped into turbulence she never saw coming. Fade to black. Fade in, the flight is in the air. The hum of the engines fills the silence. Olivia moves stiffly through the first-class cabin, her usual confidence rattled. Every glance feels heavier, every whispered conversation feels like it's about her. She steals a look at Big Shaq, who sits calmly, scrolling through his phone. Her earpiece crackles. Flight Supervisor VO. Olivia, report to the galley. She swallows hard and hurries to the back. 2 senior attendants and the flight supervisor are waiting. Flight Supervisor, low voice. What happened at boarding? Olivia, forced casual. Just a misunderstanding. Senior attendant, crossing arms. You called security on a first-class passenger. A VIP. A pause. Olivia hesitates. Olivia, defensive. He didn't look. Flight Supervisor cuts in, voice sharp. Like he belonged? Silence. Olivia realizes there's no saving this. Cut to, the flight lands. Olivia's phone vibrates the second they reach the terminal. A notification from the airline's internal system. Report to HR immediately. She barely makes it past customs before she sees the news. A video. Her confrontation with Shaq. The comments flood in. Asterisk. Classic case of profiling. Asterisk. Asterisk. She really thought she had power over him. Asterisk. Asterisk. Imagine finding out you disrespected the owner of the airline. Asterisk. Her breath quickens. She clicks another link. Stock market analysis. The airline's shares dip slightly. Executives are panicking. Damage control is already in motion. Cut to corporate offices. Olivia sits stiffly in an HR conference room. A panel of executives, PR reps, and lawyers sit across from her. Executive cold. You realize the impact of your actions? Olivia, quiet. It was a mistake. PRREP, leaning in. A mistake that's now international news. Do you have any idea what this means for the company? Olivia clenches her hands in her lap. She has no defense. She knows it. Executive. You're suspended, effective immediately. Her stomach drops. The word rings in her ears. Suspended. A polite way of saying she's one step from being fired. Cut to Shaq's office. He watches the news, his expression unreadable. His phone lights up, a text from the CEO. Asterisk. Crisis meeting. Need your input. Asterisk. He sighs, setting the phone down. He isn't surprised. But now, all eyes are on him. The world is waiting for his response. Fade in Olivia's apartment. The blinds are drawn. Her phone won't stop buzzing, calls, emails, interview requests. She doesn't answer any of them. She scrolls through social media instead. Every post feels like an attack. Asterisk. Fire her. Asterisk. Asterisk. People like her are the problem. Asterisk. Asterisk. Hope she never works again. Asterisk. Her fingers tighten around the phone. Her name, her face, it's everywhere. She closes the app. Her eyes burn. A knock at the door. She jumps. A second knock, louder this time. She hesitates before opening it. A woman stands there, Sarah, an old colleague. Sarah, soft. I saw the news. Olivia, voice hoarse. I didn't mean. Sarah, interrupting. I know. But meaning isn't the issue. It's what you did. Olivia flinches. She knows Sarah isn't here to coddle her. Sarah, firm. You have two choices. You can be bitter about what's happening, or you can own it. A beat. Olivia exhales shakily. Olivia, whispering. I don't know how. Sarah, holding out a phone. Start by answering this call. Olivia looks at the screen. Unknown number. She hesitates, then presses accept. Shaq, VO. You ready to talk? Fade to black. Fade in, a sleek, modern office. Olivia sits stiffly across from Big Shaq. The silence is heavy. He studies her, fingers tapping the desk, unimpressed. Olivia's palms are damp, her throat dry. Shaq, calm but firm. You know why you're here. Olivia, quiet. Yes. Shaq. Then tell me, why'd you assume I didn't belong? Olivia opens her mouth, but no words come. She's been asking herself the same thing. Shaq. Was it my clothes? My face? My skin? Olivia winces, shame creeping in. She wants to defend herself, but for the first time, she realizes there's nothing to defend. Olivia, soft. I wasn't thinking. Shaq, leaning forward. That's the problem. You weren't thinking, and now you're here. She nods, eyes down. Shaq exhales, rubbing his temple. Shaq. I could fire you. Hell, I probably should. But that won't fix anything. Olivia looks up, confused. Shaq. You want your job back? Prove to me you understand what you did. Fix it. A beat. Olivia processes. Then, determination flickers in her eyes. Olivia. How? Fade to a conference hall. Olivia stands at the back, nervous. The room is packed. Employees, executives, industry leaders. Shaq takes the stage. Shaq, into mic. This isn't just about me. It's about every person who's been judged before they even open their mouth. Applause. Olivia swallows hard. Shaq's gaze flicks to her. Shaq. We're making changes. And that starts with people willing to learn from their mistakes. Murmurs ripple. Olivia stiffens as eyes land on her. Then, Shaq gestures. An invitation. Hesitation. Then Olivia steps forward, heart pounding. The crowd watches. The spotlight is uncomfortable, but she doesn't shrink. Olivia, voice steady. I messed up. And I don't expect forgiveness. But I do want to be better. Silence. Then, a single clap. Then another. A slow build. Olivia exhales, shoulders lighter. Fade to an airport training center. Olivia listens as a black pilot shares his experiences. She takes notes. She asks questions. She doesn't just hear, she listens. Fade to Olivia guiding a new hire, a young woman of color, through a training session. She catches herself before making an assumption. She corrects her instinct. Growth. Fade to a viral clip. A flight attendant, this time not Olivia, stands up against a discriminatory passenger. The internet praises the airline's change in culture. Progress. Fade to Shaq watching it all unfold from his office. A small smile. He knew this was bigger than one mistake. This was the start of something more. Fade to black. Fade in, a high-rise conference room. The airline's executives sit at a long table, tense. A PR director clicks through slides, graphs showing a dip in public trust, news articles dissecting the incident. Olivia sits near the end, silent, observing. PR director. We need to regain control of the narrative. Executive. We've done damage control. We suspended her. Shaq's speech helped. What more can we do? Shaq leans forward, unimpressed. Shaq. You're still thinking about covering this up. I'm thinking about fixing the problem. The room stiffens. Shaq gestures to Olivia. Shaq. She's been working to fix herself. But what about the system that made her think like that in the first place? Silence. The execs exchange uneasy glances. Olivia grips her hands under the table. Shaq. Real change. That's how we win back trust. Fade to Olivia at the training center, this time standing at the front of the room. New hires watch her, skeptical. She recognizes the doubt. She would have had the same reaction months ago. Olivia. I used to stand where you are. I thought I knew how to treat people right. Then I learned the hard way that unconscious bias is real. A beat. The room is quiet, listening. Olivia. The only way to fix it? Acknowledging it. Then doing better. Fade to footage from inside a plane. A white male passenger refuses to take his seat next to a Middle Eastern man. A flight attendant, one of Olivia's trainees, doesn't hesitate. Trainee attendant firm. Sir, you can either sit in your assigned seat or deplane. The video goes viral. The airline is praised for standing by its values. Public trust rises. Fade to a mentorship program announcement. Shaq and Olivia stand together as they introduce a diversity initiative for leadership positions. Shaq. Talent comes from everywhere. We're making sure opportunity does too. Fade to Olivia sitting in an airport cafe, alone. A woman approaches cautiously. Woman soft. You're that flight attendant. Olivia tenses, waiting for the judgment. Woman. I saw your story. It made me rethink my own biases. So, thanks. A pause. Olivia blinks, caught off guard. Then she nods, a small but genuine smile forming. Fade to Shaq walking through an airport. He watches a diverse crew board a plane, black pilots, female captains, attendants of all backgrounds. The change is real. A legacy in motion. Fade to black. The airport buzzes as Olivia walks through the terminal. This time, she doesn't shrink from the glances. She no longer fears what people think. She spots a flight crew preparing for departure. One of the pilots is a young black woman, confidently adjusting her uniform. A subtle nod passes between them. Growth. Change. A reminder of what's possible. At the gate, a passenger argues with a flight attendant. An older man, visibly irritated, gestures toward a young staff member. Olivia steps closer, listening. She doesn't even speak proper English. How is she supposed to assist me? The young woman, nerves visible, maintains her professionalism. Olivia watches, remembering the woman she once was, the hesitation, the uncertainty. That version of her would have frozen, let the moment pass. But not anymore. She steps in. Sir, we don't judge our staff by their accents, but by their ability to do their job. Her voice is calm but firm. The man hesitates, expecting pushback, but her authority leaves no room for argument. If you're uncomfortable, I can have someone assist you off the flight. The surrounding passengers watch, waiting. The man huffs but doesn't argue further. Olivia nods at the young attendant, who exhales in quiet relief. She understands now, change isn't about erasing the past. It's about using it to shape a better future. Across the airport, Shaq walks with a group of executives. He moves differently now, not just as a businessman, but as someone who has reshaped an industry. One of the executives mentions numbers, market recovery, brand image. Shaq listens but doesn't respond immediately. His gaze follows Olivia as she steps onto the jet bridge, carrying herself with confidence she once lacked. That's the real win. A reporter catches up with him. Mr. Shaq, your airline has seen a significant cultural shift over the past year. What do you say to critics who call it performative? Shaq stops. The cameras roll. I don't care about headlines. I care about results. He gestures toward the terminal, toward the diverse faces filling the gates. If someone gets on a flight today and isn't judged before they even sit down, then we did something right. The reporter hesitates. And Olivia Carter? The flight attendant from the original incident, what's her story now? Shaq smirks. She wrote her own ending. A plane takes off in the distance. The sky is open, limitless. The city skyline glows as Olivia sits at her desk, reviewing the next round of diversity training materials. A year ago, she was the one learning. Now she's leading. Her phone buzzes, an email from an airline in Europe. They want her to consult on their inclusion initiatives. She leans back, processing. The ripples of her journey are reaching farther than she imagined. She walks into a meeting where senior executives are finalizing a new leadership development program. A few faces glance at her skeptically. She recognizes the look. Once, it would have made her question her place. Not anymore. When asked for her input, she speaks clearly, decisively. We don't just need diverse hiring. We need mentorship. Representation without guidance isn't real inclusion. The room is silent for a moment. Then, one of the senior executives nods. She's right. Let's make it happen. Later that evening, she visits her mother. The news plays in the background, discussing the airline's transformation. Her mother watches quietly before speaking. You never let mistakes define you. For the first time, Olivia believes it. Elsewhere, Shaq sits in his office, reviewing reports. A knock. His assistant steps in. You have a visitor. Olivia walks in, more sure of herself than the first time she stood here. I wanted to say thank you. Shaq leans back, amused. For what? For making me face it instead of running from it. He nods, as if he already knew she would. People like to talk about change, he says. Few actually do it. She smiles, understanding the weight of those words. The airport hums with life as Olivia walks through the terminal, no longer just another flight attendant. She stops near a group of new hires, one of them nervously adjusting his tie. He reminds her of herself, back when she thought she had it all figured out. She steps over, extends a hand. Welcome to the team. The young man hesitates before shaking it. A simple gesture, but one that carries weight. A plane soars overhead. A reminder that sometimes, the most important journeys aren't the ones in the sky, but the ones within. This keeps the pacing tight, ties every arc together, and lands on growth, mentorship, and legacy. Let me know if you want any refinements. Rocket. The sun rises over the airport as Olivia boards a flight, not as a flight attendant, but as a guest speaker for an international conference on workplace culture. She finds her seat in first class. A moment of reflection. A full circle moment. Across the aisle, a businessman eyes her curiously. He leans over. First time up here? She smiles, recognizing the irony. No. But I used to think it wasn't for me. Meanwhile, Shaq steps into an executive meeting. The company's latest quarterly report sits on the table, showing record-breaking growth, not just in revenue but in employee retention and passenger satisfaction. One of the board members clears his throat. This shift you started, it actually worked. Shaq smirks. Told you it wasn't just a PR move. The conversation moves to expansion. Other airlines are noticing. They want to adopt similar changes. Shaq listens, knowing this was never just about one company, it's about setting a new standard. At a recruitment event, a young black woman steps up to the airline's booth. She clutches her resume, nervous. Olivia, now leading the initiative, greets her. Tell me about yourself. The woman exhales, steadies herself. I want to be a pilot. Olivia nods, impressed. Then let's make that happen. Elsewhere, a passenger posts a photo of a flight crew, a diverse team, a sign of the industry's shift. The caption reads, "This is what progress looks like." The post goes viral. Months later, Olivia stands on a stage, delivering a keynote speech. The audience, executives, HR leaders, future employees, listens intently. She tells them about the mistake that changed her, about the lessons that reshaped her. She doesn't hide from it. The goal isn't perfection. It's progress. A standing ovation. In the airport, Shaq watches from a screen, nodding in approval. A legacy built, not just in policy, but in people. As Olivia walks through the terminal, she sees a flight attendant helping an elderly man with his luggage. No hesitation, no judgment, just kindness. She smiles. The culture has changed. And this time, it's for good. This keeps the pacing cinematic, impactful, and deeply satisfying, with every arc closed out powerfully. Let me know if you want any final tweaks. Rocket. The airline's headquarters is bustling as executives finalize their next global initiative. A senior member reads the new company values aloud, clear, direct, non-negotiable. No one debates them. The culture shift is no longer a concept, it's policy. Across the country, a young girl watches a video of Olivia's speech. She sees someone who looks like her, someone who wasn't always perfect but refused to stay the same. She turns to her father. I want to be a flight attendant someday. At an airport cafe, Shaq scrolls through his phone, skimming industry headlines. Other airlines are following suit, rolling out diversity programs, restructuring their training, rethinking who belongs where. The change has gone beyond his company. He leans back, satisfied. A journalist stops Olivia after her conference. Your transformation is inspiring, but do you ever wish the incident never happened? She doesn't hesitate. No. Because without it, I wouldn't have changed. A new hire, fresh out of training, spots Olivia in the airport. I read about your story, she says nervously. I was afraid to apply, but then I saw how things are different now. Olivia smiles. And they'll keep getting better. On board a flight, a middle-aged man refuses to take his seat next to a passenger in a turban. The flight attendant doesn't hesitate. Sir, your options are simple, sit or leave. The cabin watches. The man grumbles but takes his seat. No applause, no viral moment, just a quiet, normal expectation of respect. At a leadership retreat, Shaq listens as young professionals discuss workplace culture. One of them, an aspiring executive, brings up his airline as an example. They didn't just change policies, they changed mindsets. Shaq doesn't speak, he just nods, knowing that's the real victory. At the end of the night, Olivia walks through the terminal, reflecting on how far she's come. A year ago, she was at the center of a controversy. Now, she's part of the solution. She boards her flight, finding her seat next to a young woman gripping a notebook. Nervous flyer? Olivia asks. The woman shakes her head. No, just preparing. It's my first day as a flight attendant. Olivia smiles, offering a reassuring nod. You'll do great. As the plane ascends, the city lights shrink below. The sky stretches infinitely ahead, open, full of possibilities. This keeps the storytelling tight, every arc meaningful, and the ending deeply satisfying, showing real transformation, not just in Olivia, but in the entire industry. Let me know if you want any last tweaks. Rocket.